Radha Shivasan. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we are going to continue reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 8, Text 25. Kim vatmaja vishlesha jvaradava dahana shikhabir upatayamana.
Kim vatmaja vishelisha shikhabhi upataprayatana.
Hridayasthala nalinikam mam upasrita mrigitanayam shishira.
Hridayasthala nalinkam mam uparastam mrigitanyam shishira. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. It's really a very, very strong earthquake story.
Yes, very big, very big.
Hare Hare, Hare Ram,
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Ram, Hare Hare,
Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram,
Hare
Ram,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare, Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Hare,
Ram, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Ram, Hare
Hare
Ram, Hare
Krishna,
Ram.
Hare Krishna,
It has
Krishna
settled.
Krishna.
Yeah,
It stopped, right?
yeah, it has settled. Yeah.
Okay.
Must stop.
Yeah.
Oh.
Mrigi Tanyam Shishira.
Shantanuraga Gunita Nijavadana Salilamritamaya Gabhastibhihi Swadhyayatiti cha.
Shanta Anuraga Gunita Nija Vadana Shalilam Vitmaya Maya Garbhasthitabhi Swadhyantiti cha.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. After perceiving the moonshine, Maharaj Bharat continued speaking like a crazy person. He said, "The dear sun was so submissive and dear to me that due to its separation, I am feeling separation from my own son. Due to the burning fever of this separation, I am suffering as if inflamed by a forest fire. My heart, which is like the lily of the land, is now burning. Seeing me so distressed, the moon is certainly splashing its shining nectar upon me, just as a friend throws water on another friend who has a high fever. In this way, the moon is bringing me happiness." According to Ayurvedic treatment, it is said that if one has a high fever, someone should splash him with water after gargling this water. In this way, the fever subsides. Although Bharat Maharaj was very aggrieved due to the separation of his so-called son, the deer, he thought that the moon was splashing gargled water on him from its mouth, and that this water would subdue his high fever, which was raging due to separation from the deer. So he's so afflicted with the attachment to the deer. Evam aghatamana mano ratha kula hridayo mrigadara kabhasena.
Evam Agataman Manaratho Akula Ridaya Mrigadaraka Abhasena.
Svarabdha karmana yogaram bhanato vibramshitasa yoga.
So Arabdha Karmana Yoga Aram Ganatah Vibrashitah Sa Yoga Tapas Yoga.
Tapaso Bhagavad Aradhana Lakshana Chakatham Itaratha Jati.
Tapasa Bhagavata Aradhana Lakshanata Chakatham Itarata Jati.
Antara ena kunaka asanga sakshan nishreyasa pratipakshataya.
अंतरे एण कुणके आसंग साक्षात् निश्रेयस प्रतिपक्षतया
परित्यक्ता दुस्त्यज हृदयाभिजातस्य तस्यैवम् अंतराय
प्राक् परित्यक्तुस्तरज हृदय अभिजातस्य तस्य एवम् अंतराय
गतयोगारम्भनस्य राजर्षिर्भरतस्य तावन् मृगार्भक
तस्य एवम् अनन्तराय विहतयोगः आरम्भणस्य राजर्षे भरतस्य
पोषणपालन प्रणन लालनानु संगेन विगण्यत आत्मानम्
पोषण पालन पीयण लालन अनुसंगेन अभिगण्यत आत्मनाम्
बहिर्वाखुबिलं दुरतिक्रमकालकरालरभस आपद्यत
अहि एव आखुबिलम दुर्तिक्रम काल कराल रभसः आपदत्
Sukadeva Goswami continued, my dear king, in this way Bharat Maharaj was overwhelmed by an uncontrollable desire, which was manifest in the form of the deer. Due to the fruitive results of his past deeds, he fell down from mystic yoga, austerity, and worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If it were not due to his past fruitive activity, how could he have been attracted to the deer after giving up the association of his own son and family, considering them stumbling blocks on the path of spiritual life? How could he show such uncontrollable affection for a deer? This was definitely due to his past karma. The king was so engrossed in petting and maintaining the deer that he fell down from his spiritual activities. In due course of time, insurmountable death, which is compared to a venomous snake that enters the hole created by a mouse, situated itself before him. As will be seen in later verses, Bharat Mahārāja at the time of death would be forced to accept the body of a deer due to his attraction for the deer. In this regard, a question may be raised: how can a devotee be affected by his past misconduct and vicious activities? In Brahma Samhita 5.54, it is said, Karmani nirdahati kintu cha bhakti bhajam. For those engaged in devotional service, bhakti bhajana, the results of past deeds are indemnified. According to this, Bharat Maharaj could not be punished for his past misdeeds. The conclusion must be that Maharaj Bharat purposefully became over-addicted to the deer and neglected his spiritual advancement. So because the point is being brought out that maybe he got too affected to the deer was due to his past karma, due to past karma, reaction of past karma. But Prabhupada is pointing out, but for a pure devotee, there's no past karma. One is not implicated in karmic reactions. For a pure devotee, there's no material karma left, there's no karma. So it was his own decision, his choice. That's what Prabhupada is saying. Bharat Maharaj purposefully became over-addicted to the deer. He neglected his spiritual advancement. After all, we are all spirit souls. We all have our individual choice, our individual desire. To immediately rectify his mistake for a short time, he was awarded the body of a deer. This was just to increase his desire for mature devotional service. So, I'm sorry. So because he got a slight setback in his devotional life, because he will get the body of a deer. So his hankering for Krishna increased. His desire increased for again to be situated on that platform. Like how once one gets a setback in spiritual life, then one prays harder. The desire, the yeah, the intensity increases then. So although Bharat Maharaj was awarded the body of an animal, he did not forget what had previously happened due to his purposeful mistake. So it was his own choice here that he chose to disregard his spiritual activities and chose to get overly attached to, to the deer, over addicted. So he was very anxious to get out of his dear body, and this indicates that is
Just uh,
Hare Krishna.
just one question. So what it
Yeah.
was his free will, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
free will,
what he it was his free will that he chose to get attached to the deer,
over attached.
over
Again,
attached
again,
to
the
the deer.
over is being used, over
Over,
compassionate, over addicted. Yeah,
yeah.
over.
So that was his free will, not because of his karma, as explained very clearly.
Yeah, not because of karma, because pure devotee, there's no karma.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah.
So that's what Prabhupada is explaining. It was his own choice, own free will. So he was anxious to get out of the dear body, and this indicates that his affection for devotional service was intensified so much so that he was quickly to attain perfection in a Brahmana body in the next life. So because he got a slight setback, his desire for devotional service increased many, many times more. That soon he's now, after the dear body, he's just going to get one human body and then he's going back home, back to Godhead. It is with this conviction that we declare in our Back to Godhead magazine that devotees like the Goswamis living in Vrindavan, who purposely commit some sinful activity, are born in the bodies of dogs, monkeys, and tortoises in that holy land. Thus, they take on these lower life forms for a short while, and after they give up those animal bodies, they are again promoted to the spiritual world. Such punishment is only for a short period, and it is not due to past karma. It may appear to be due to past karma, but it is offered to rectify the devotee and bring him to pure devotional service. So it's not a karma. This is Krishna's personally, he's doing this. It's not under material laws. Just so that, like how a child is behaving too naughty. So then the parent may give some small kind token punishment just to bring them to the senses. It's something like that. So Prabhupada is saying that there are devotees in Vrindavan who purposefully take up sinful activity. Then in the next life, they will get body of animals in Vrindavan, but after that, they will go back home, back to Godhead. So they get just like a token punishment, like that. But it's not karma. Is that okay?
So that means that even the animals of Vrindavan are very, very exalted. Like they are some,
Oh, yeah. Yes,
right?
Prabhupada's god brother would say that we should even offer obeisances to the hogs over there. Yeah, because we don't know where they are
Hmm.
coming from, Everyone in Vrindavan is very exalted.
Wow.
Yes. Tadanim api parshvavartinam atmajam ivanushocantam.
Tadanim api parshvartinam atmajam iva anusochantam.
Abhivikshmano mriga evabhinivishita mana visrijya lokam imam.
अभिवीक्षमाणा मृग एव अभिनिवेशित मना विसर्ज्य लोकम् इमम्.
Saha mrigena kalevaram mritam anunamrita janmanusmritir.
सह मृगेण देवरमृतं अणुना ऋतजन्म अनुस्मृति
Itaravan mriga shariram avapa.
इतर्वत् मृग शरीरम अवाप.
At the time of death, the king saw that the deer was sitting by his side, exactly like his own son, and was lamenting his death. Actually, the mind of the king was absorbed in the body of the deer, and consequently, like those bereft of Krishna consciousness, he left the world, the deer, and his material body, and acquired the body of a deer. However, there was one advantage. Although he lost his human body and received the body of a deer, he did not forget the incidents of his past life. There was a difference between Bharat Maharaj's acquiring a deer body and others acquiring different bodies according to their mental condition at the time of death. After death, others forget everything that has happened in their past lives. But Bharat Maharaj did not forget. So, like Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, that even a little swalpam api, anyway, that even a little advancement on this path can save one from the greatest type of fear. The danger is that one may get animal body in the next life. And once one enters the animal body, then one cannot engage in devotional service. One cannot remember Krishna. Here, Bharat Maharaj, he's a great, great exalted personality. He is on the stage of Bhava, just before Prema. So Bhava is already, he has emotions for Krishna. And so he's getting a dear body, but he remembers everything. So it's very different than what a regular soul, regular soul goes into an animal body, they forget everything. According to Bhagavad Gita, yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajati ante kalevaram tam tam evaiti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavita. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, that state he will attain without fail. Bhagavad Gita 8.6. After quitting his body, a person gets another body according to his mental condition at the time of death. At death, a person always thinks of that subject matter in which he has been engrossed during his life. There's some center that we have that that our thoughts, our activities go around that center. So what usually happens is, I'm sorry, one moment. So usually what happens is one is going to think of that, whatever is over-consuming us during our time in this body, that's what we will think of while leaving this body. According to this law, because Bharat Maharaj was always thinking of the deer and forgetting his worship of the Supreme Lord, he acquired the body of a deer. However, due to his having been elevated to the topmost platform of devotional service, he did not forget the incidents of his past life. This special benediction saved him from further deterioration. Due to his past activities in devotional service, he became determined to finish his devotional service, even in the body of a deer. So it really gave him that determination. It is therefore said in this verse, Mritam, although he had died, Anu afterwards, na mrita janma anu smritir itaravad. He did not forget the incidents of his past life, as others forget. As stated in Brahma Samhita 554, Karmani nirdahati kintu cha bhakti bhajam. It is proved herein that due to the grace of the Supreme Lord, a devotee is never vanquished. Due to his willful neglect of devotional service, a devotee may be punished for a short time, but he again revives his devotional service and returns home back to Godhead. So coming into the body of a deer gave him that, it gave him that realization that, okay, this is it. Now I'm just determined in devotional service. Tivrena bhakti yogena, just determined. Tatrapi hava atmano mrigatva karanam bhagavat aradhana.
Tadra
तत्रापि
Atmano Karanam
कारणं भगवत्
Aradhana.
आराधनम्
समीहानुभावेनानुस्मृत्य भ्रशम् अनुतप्यमान आह.
Anubhavena
अनुभावेन
Anusmritasya
स्मृत्य
Krishna
वृक्षम्
Apyamana Aha.
Although in the body of a deer, Bharat Maharaj, due to his rigid devotional service in his past life, could understand the cause of his birth in that body. Considering his past and present life, he constantly repented his activities, speaking in the following way. This is a special concession for a devotee. Even if he attains a body that is non-human, by the grace of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he advances further in devotional service, whether by remembering his past life or by natural causes. It is not easy for a common man to remember the activities of his past life. But Bharat Maharaj could remember his past activities due to his great sacrifices and engagement in devotional service. So one may think, okay, never mind, Bharat Maharaj, only body of a deer, another body Brahmana, he went back to Godhead, so I can imitate him. But Bharat Maharaj, he's a great, great devotee, very high level of devotion on the level of bhava. So we cannot imitate him.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, my question is that why would some Goswamis intentionally want to take a body of an animal?
Because, the point was that they were intentionally engaging in sinful activity, and that's why they will get the body of an animal.
No, but why would they do that? Like intentionally, na?
There are many devotees in Vrindavan currently that in the name of devotion, then they are engaging in sinful activity. But because they are in Vrindavan, because of their past pious deeds. So again, here the individual desire is coming. Like how Bharat Maharaj, why is he getting so attached to a deer? He didn't
No,
need
that
to.
is like, it is not intentionally, na? It became like he got attached. But that part I didn't understand, like why intentionally they would commit something sinful activity to get a body of an animal.
No, they are not doing some sinful activity to get the body of an animal.
No,
No,
right?
okay. No. Their intention is not to get the body of an animal. Their intention is to enjoy in that particular manner that they want to. But because it's sinful, so the reaction that will get is the body of an animal in Vrindavan. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So we read the line in the last text. It's by natural causes. What is natural causes?
That's right.
We can advance further in devotional service by remembering past life or by natural causes.
I'm sorry, let me see. It's here. Okay, even if he attains a body that is non-human. So this is a special concession for a devotee. Prabhupada is saying that Bharat Maharaj, he he could remember his devotional service was by the mercy of the Lord, and he increases his devotional service. How? It could be either by remembering his past life or by something else that's happening at that time. In this case, Bharat Maharaj, his devotional service is increasing because he could remember his past life. But Krishna's mercy for another pure devotee may be another cause, that he is in another situation, another body, and by any other cause he could engage further in devotional service. That's how I understand it. Because the idea is he's advancing further in devotional service. How is Bharat Maharaj doing it? Is remembering his past life. How another devotee could do it is by any other natural cause. Is that okay?
Yes. Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you. Aho kashtam brashtoham atmavatam anupathat mukta.
Aho kashtam brashto aham
Samasta sangasya vivikta punyaranya sharanasyatma vata atmani.
Samasta sangasya vivikta
punyaranya
sharanasya atmovat atmani.
Sarvesham atmanam bhagavati vasudeve tad anushravana manana.
Sarvesham atmanam bhagavati vasudeve tad anusravana manana
aradhana.
Sankirtana radhananusmaranabhiyogena shunya sakalayamena.
Sankirtan आराधन अनुस्मरण अभियोगेन अशून्य सकल्यामेन
Kalena samaveshitam samahitam Yena manastattu punar.
कालेन
समावेशितं समाहितं मनस्तत्तु
पुनः
Mama buddhasya mrigasutam anupari susrava.
महाबुद्धश्चारान् मृगसुतम् अनुपरिषु
In the body of a deer, Bharat Maharaj began to lament, "What misfortune! I have fallen from the path of the self-realized. I gave up my real sons, wife, and home to advance in spiritual life, and I took shelter in a solitary holy place in the forest. I became self-controlled and self-realized, and I engaged constantly in devotional service, hearing, thinking, chanting, worshipping, and remembering the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vasudeva. I was successful in my attempt, so much so that my mind was always absorbed in devotional service. However, due to my personal foolishness, my mind again became attached, this time to a deer. Now I have obtained the body of a deer and have fallen far from my devotional practices. Due to his stringent execution of devotional service, Maharaj Bharat could remember the activities of his past life and how he was raised to the spiritual platform. Due to his foolishness, he became attached to an insignificant deer and thus fell down and had to accept the body of a deer. This is significant for every devotee. If we misuse our position and think that we are fully engaged in devotional service and can do whatever we like, we have to suffer like Bharat Maharaj and be condemned to accept the type of body that impairs our devotional service. Only the human form is able to execute devotional service. But if we voluntarily give this up for sense gratification, we certainly have to be punished. This punishment is not exactly like that endured by ordinary materialistic person. By the grace of the Supreme Lord, a devotee is punished in such a way that his eagerness to attain the lotus feet of Lord Vasudeva is increased. So it's not that it's because of karma he's getting the deer body, because if it was karma, then deer body, then his next body wouldn't immediately be that of a brahmana. again, it would be so many species of life. Then he would be able to come to the Brahmana platform. So this was just like a token punishment by the Supreme Lord, just to increase his eagerness for devotional service. Because Krishna is also eager for us to come back home. But we like to dilly-dally. We are saying, okay, let me smell this flower here. I mean, it doesn't mean we shouldn't smell flowers. I mean, don't take it so literally. What I mean to say, we get distracted on our way back home. So Krishna wants us to give up the distractions and be fully focused. Doesn't mean we shouldn't smell the flowers along the way. Yeah, sure, do it. But the idea is to be fully focused in devotional service, which is not very easy. Not very easy to be able to come to that platform, So, but here, this is what this pastime of Bharat Maharaj is telling us. So Bharat Maharaj, he got the body of a deer, but his eagerness to be with the Lord increased. By his intense desire, he returns home in the next life. And because that's the only qualification, our greed, the lolium is the only qualification for us to be with Krishna. So Krishna gave him like a token that, okay, body of a deer. Then he realized, oh my God, what did I do? How could I do that? And his desire to be with Krishna intensified so much. Devotional service is very completely described here. Tad anushravana manana sankirtanara dhana nusmarana yogena. The constant hearing and chanting of the glories of the Lord is recommended in Bhagavad Gita. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dritavrata. Those who have taken to Krishna consciousness should be very careful that not a single moment is wasted, and that not a single moment is spent without chanting and remembering the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his activities. By his own actions and by the actions of his devotees, Krishna teaches us how to become cautious in devotional service. Through the medium of Bharat Maharaj, Krishna teaches us that we must be careful in the discharge of devotional service. So we have to understand that Krishna always engages his pure devotees to teach us lessons. Like how the mother-in-law, if she wants to, Prabhupada would give this example, if the mother-in-law wants to teach the daughter-in-law something, she will tell the daughter, oh, you do like this or don't do like this. So Krishna, because he wants to teach us, he engages his pure devotees in this service. He uses the pure devotees as his instrument to teach us. If we want to keep our minds completely fixed without deviation, we must engage them in devotional service full time. As far as the members of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness are concerned, they have sacrificed everything to push on this Krishna consciousness movement. Yet they must take a lesson from the life of Bharat Maharaj to be very cautious and to see that not a single moment is wasted in frivolous talk, sleep, or voracious eating. Eating is not prohibited, but if we eat voraciously, we shall certainly sleep more than required. Sense gratification ensues, and we may be degraded to a lower life form. In that way, our spiritual progress may be checked, at least for the time being. The best course is to take the advice of Srila Rupa Goswami, avyartha kalatvam. We should see that every moment of our lives is utilized for the rendering of devotional service and nothing else. This is the secure position for one wanting to return home, back to Godhead. So constantly engaging in devotional service. So we may hear this and say, oh my God, this is impossible. What do I do? Well, what can we do? We can just continue to hear and chant and pray to the Lord for His mercy. Of course, we have to do our part. We hear, we chant, whatever principles, rules, regulations are given to us, we do that. And we continue doing that.
We have to do our prescribed duties. Right?
I'm sorry.
We have to do our prescribed duties, what we have to do, being a householder, right?
Yeah, we have to. Yeah, we can't give up our duties. Krishna does not want us to
That
give
also
up our
takes
duties.
time, no? Yeah.
Yeah. And so Krishna is saying to do our duties for His pleasure. So we do our duties. We need to. That's what He's telling us through Bhagavad Gita. That do your duty, but do it for my pleasure. Whatever the duty may be. So one may say, but well, I want to keep the result of my activity for myself. Why shall I give it to Krishna? We may not be at that stage as yet. So we continue to hear and chant. And gradually, we can come to that platform. Yeah, we can't just sit down and do nothing. No, the modes will make us act. So we have to do our duties. But remember Krishna while doing them. Not easy again. Not easy. That's why we have to regularly hear and chant. Iti evam nigoda nirveda visrijya mrigi mataram punar. Bhagavad Chetram Upashama Shila Muni Gana Daitam Shala Gramam.
Bhagavad Chetram Upashama Shila Muni Gana Daitam Shala Gramam.
Pulastya Pulahashamam Kalanjarat Pratyajagama.
Pulasya Pulahashamam Kalanjarat
Although Bharat Maharaj received the body of a deer, by constant repentance, he became completely detached from all material things. He did not disclose these things to anyone, but he left his mother deer in a place known as Kalanjara mountain, where he was born. He again went to the forest of Shalagram and to the ashram of Pulastya and Pulaha. It is significant that Maharaj Bharat, by the grace of Vasudev, remembered his past life. He did not waste a moment. He returned to Pulaha ashram, to the village known as Shalagram. Association is very meaningful. Therefore, ISKCON tries to perfect one who enters the society. The members of this society should always remember that the society is not like a free hotel. All the members should be very careful to execute their spiritual duties so that whoever comes will automatically become a devotee and will be able to return back to Godhead in this very life. Although Bharat Maharaj acquired the body of a deer, he again left his hearth and home. In this case, the mountain Kalanjara. No one should be captivated by his birthplace and family. One should take shelter of the association of devotees and cultivate Krishna consciousness. So here, Bharat Maharaj, he left his dear family. He went to the same place where he was doing austerities when he was Bharat Maharaj. Srila Prabhupada is pointing out that ISKCON, he created this society for devotees so that anyone who joins the society can go back home, back to Godhead, can become a devotee and go back to Godhead. Prabhupada is saying one should take association of the shelter of the association of devotees, cultivate Krishna consciousness in the association of devotees. Doesn't mean that we have to give up our families. It doesn't mean to associate the devotees with the devotees. We have to abandon our family. No, Lord Chaitanya said, wherever we are, whatever position we are in, we try to hear and chant. Of course, associate with the devotees as much as we can. But we need to do our duties, whatever they are, because we are still under the modes of nature. Otherwise, the modes of nature, because the modes of nature will act, even if we artificially renounce, the modes will act. So it's better for us to stay in whatever position, to do service. We can serve the devotees. We hear from Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. We were hearing in the morning, right? We were hearing that our service to the devotees is so it is so powerful that it gives one the taste to hear about Krishna. And one who's hearing the glories of Krishna, then Krishna within the heart, he himself cleans the heart of material desires, takes away the material desires. So service to the devotee was being stressed by Sutta Goswami in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2. Tasminapi kalam pratikshamana sankacha brasham udvigna.
Tasmin api kalam pratikshama Shamana sangasha vrisham udvigna.
Atma sahachara shuksha parna trina viruda vartamano mrikatva.
Atma sahachara suksha parnatrina viruda vartmanam mrikatva.
Limitat vasanam eva ganayan mriga shariram tirtho dagat klinam utsasarja.
Nimittavacham Yamrika Sharita Sodka Nam Sasarja.
Remaining in that ashram, the great King Bharat was now very careful not to fall victim to bad association. Without disclosing his past to anyone, he remained in that ashram and ate dry leaves only. He was not exactly alone, for he had the association of the supersoul. In this way, he waited for death in the body of a deer. Bathing in that holy place, he finally gave up that body. Holy places like Vrindavan, Haridwar, Prayag, and Jagannath Puri are especially meant for the execution of devotional service. Vrindavan specifically is the most exalted and preferred holy place for Vaishnava devotees of Lord Krishna who are aspiring to return back to Godhead, the Vaikuntha planets. There are many devotees in Vrindavan who regularly bathe in the Yamuna, and this cleanses all the contamination of the material world. By constantly chanting and hearing the holy names and pastimes of the Supreme Lord, one certainly becomes purified and becomes a fit candidate for liberation. However, if one purposefully falls victim to sense gratification, he has to be punished, at least for one lifetime, like Bharat Maharaj. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 5th canto, 8th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam entitled A Description of the Character of Bharat Maharaj. So Prabhupada is saying by constantly chanting and hearing the holy names and pastimes of the Lord, then purifies us and we can go back home, back to Godhead. It cleans our consciousness, all the material consciousness, by hearing and chanting. Of course, for those who are, it's possible to live in the Dham, then it's very good, but not everyone can live in the Dham. So what can we do? We can't constantly hear and chant as much as we can. Try to remember the Lord, worship the deity. Prabhupada is saying if one purposely falls victim to sense gratification, then he may be punished for at least one lifetime. Any questions, comments?
Yeah, we have to pray for his mercy. So it was Krishna's mercy on Bharat Maharaj that he got realization. Not easy to get that realization, right?
Yes, thank you. Yes, it's true. We need to pray to Krishna for his mercy. Yeah. Very true. And association of devotees. Bharat Maharaj was alone by himself. Devotional service, when done in the association of devotees, becomes easier. When we are left off by ourselves, it becomes more difficult. So, association of devotees.
Constantly chanting, hearing.
I'm sorry?
Constantly chanting and hearing.
Yeah,
Shravana.
constantly chanting. Yeah. Going on, chapter 9, the supreme character of Jadbharat. In this chapter, Bharat Maharaj's attainment of the body of a Brahmana is described. In this body, he remained like one dull, deaf, and dumb, so much so that when he was brought before the goddess Kali to be killed as a sacrifice, he never protested but remained silent. After having given up the body of a deer, he took birth in the womb of the youngest wife of a Brahmana. In this life, he could also remember the activities of his past life. And in order to avoid the influence of society, he remained like a deaf and dumb person. So he's remembering. Now he's born as Bharat, son of a Brahmana, but he's remembering his past life. So he pretends to be deaf and dumb. That's why he's called Jarbharat. So he remained like a deaf and dumb person. He was very careful not to fall down again. He did not mix with anyone who was not a devotee. This process should be adopted by every devotee. As advised by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Asat Sangatyag, E Vaishnavachar, one should strictly avoid the company of non-devotees, even though they may be family members. So how can we understand that our family may be non-devotees? And we can't give them up. But the idea is that continue hearing and chanting in the association of devotees. You don't need to take instructions from them. Take instructions from the devotees about spiritual life. So when Bharat Maharaj was in the body of a Brahmana, the people in the neighborhood thought of him as a crazy, dull fellow. But within, he was always chanting and remembering Vasudev, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although his father wanted to give him an education and purify him as a Brahmana by offering him the sacred thread, he remained in such a way that his father and mother could understand that he was crazy and not interested in the reformatory method. Nonetheless, he remained fully Krishna conscious, even without undergoing such official ceremonies. Due to his silence, some people, who were no better than animals, began to tease him in many ways, but he tolerated this. After the death of his father and mother, his stepmother and stepbrothers began to treat him very poorly. They would give him the most condemned food, but still he did not mind. He remained completely absorbed in Krishna consciousness. He was ordered by his stepbrothers and mother to guard a paddy field one night. And at that time, the leader of a dacoit party took him away and tried to kill him by offering him as a sacrifice before Bhadrakali. When the dacoits brought Bharat Maharaj before the goddess Kali and raised a chopper to kill him, the goddess Kali became immediately alarmed due to the mistreatment of a devotee. She came out of the deity and, taking the chopper in her own hands, killed all the dacoits there. Thus, a pure devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead can remain silent despite the mistreatment of non-devotees. Rogues and dacoits who misbehave toward a devotee are punished at last by the arrangement of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he was acting deaf and dumb just so that he could concentrate on his devotional service. He didn't want any distractions in this life. So he appeared in that way. I think we'll stop here. We can start with the first verse tomorrow. Did you all want to add anything more? Or any comment? Okay. Krishna Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki